The search for Michael Vaughn continues. Michael went missing from his neighborhood in Fruitland in July of 2021. He was just 5 years old at the time. Law enforcement has spent the last year and a half investigating. But the Fruitland police chief says a credible tip led investigators to a home near Michael's neighborhood this weekend.
Crews are back out in Fruitland today searching for Michael Vaughn. Police believe his remains are in the backyard of a Fruitland home, and today is the 6th day crews are excavating the yard. Crews could be at the house on Red Wing Street for another week. This house is just 4 minutes from the Vaughn's home.
As you know, from the time Michael went missing, this has been an all-hands-on-deck investigation, and it remains very active and an ongoing investigation. You can't take one of our most precious citizens from us and ever expect us to stop. During the course of this investigation to date, we received credible information that the remains of Michael Vaughn could be found in the backyard at 1102 Red Wing Street in Fruitland. As a result, the Fruitland Police Department obtained a search warrant for the residence along with the front and backyards. That search warrant was served on November 11th. It was a Friday. We served that late in the evening. Upon entry, officers encountered Sarah Wandra, one of the known occupants of the home, and Sarah was subsequently arrested based on probable cause that she had knowledge of Michael's death and failed to report that death to law enforcement. The following day, the Fruitland Police Department, joined by the Idaho State Police, the Idaho Mountain Search and Rescue, the Fruitland Fire Department, and the Fruitland Public Works Department, began a very methodical excavation of the backyard of the Wandra's home. During that excavation process, the Idaho Mountain Search and Rescue Mountain States detection dogs deployed multiple certified human remains detection dogs on the property, all of them alerting to the presence of human remains. Ground penetrating radar was also used and deployed, detecting anomalies in the backyard. We completed the excavation of the entire backyard and removed over 250 yards of dirt. Prior to backfilling the yard, the dirt was meticulously sifted for any potential human remains. We did not find Michael's remains. Although the remains of Michael Vaughn were not recovered, we strongly believe, based on evidence, that Michael was abducted and is deceased, and that his remains were buried and later moved from the property. As of today, the whereabouts of his remains are unknown. However, the investigation is active, fluid, and ongoing. Once the excavation was complete, we conducted a thorough search of the Wandra's residence. The search was productive, and additional investigative evidence was recovered and is currently being processed.
Evidence suggests that the following individuals who are currently in custody are involved in the abduction of Michael Vaughn. Sarah Wandra, 35 years old. Sarah lives at 1102 Red Wing Street in Fruitland and was living there at the time of Michael's disappearance. We believe that Sarah has firsthand knowledge and is involved in Michael's abduction. Sarah Wandra is currently being held at the Payette County Jail for failing to report a death to law enforcement. And Stacy Wandra, 30 years old, a male. Stacy was also living at 1102 Red Wing Street in Fruitland and was living there at the time of Michael's disappearance. We believe that Stacy has firsthand knowledge and is involved in the abduction of Michael Vaughn. Brandon SHURTLIFF, 30 years old, of Kuna, Idaho. Brandon was living with Sarah and Stacy Wandra at 1102 Red Wing Street at the time of Michael's disappearance, and we believe Brandon has firsthand knowledge of Michael's abduction. Adrian Lucian, 32-year-old male out of Toledo, Ohio. Adrian was staying with Sarah and Stacy Wandra at 1102 Red Wing Street at the time of Michael's disappearance, and we believe that Adrian has firsthand knowledge of Michael's abduction.
Hey everybody, welcome in. To Missing PNW Crimes Revisited. I am Samantha. Today is Thursday, May 22nd, 2025. How is everybody doing? Friday is tomorrow. Whoop, whoop. Thank you guys all so much for coming in, for supporting the Vaughn family, for supporting Michael, supporting me. I appreciate you all coming in. Who do we got in the house? Halo Art in the house. What's going on? We got Donna Might, and we've got Forget Me Not. Thank you guys so much for coming in. Eve Hickman, thank you so much for coming in, and thank you for always sharing Missing PNW's lives. I truly do appreciate that. Sarah Suspicious, thank you, mods, for coming in. I really do appreciate everything you do. You guys be sure to thank them for everything they do. Diane Crawford, thank you for coming in. Juniper, Tarot and Astrology, thank you so much for coming in, hon. It's great to see everybody pouring in real quick. Hair Curlers and Crime, best name on the YouTube streets. Good to see you, hon. I do know that you guys are amazing. Brandy left me a message today. She's so happy that I am continuing to bring coverage on Michael. She's also so happy to see everybody here being supportive for Monkey. Rizzo in the house and Big O, good to see you. Did I miss anybody? Bryn Marshall, thank you for coming in. Oh, thank you so much. Hi, beautiful Sam and Brandy. You guys are so kind. I got one of the best chats on the YouTube street. Jessica Guthrie is here. This is Daniel Guthrie, wife. This is a family friend of Brandon and Brandon's family. Emilio is here. Good to see you. So up at the top, we have Leslie, Keep It Real, in the house. I have put up a link for Monkey's Project where you can buy zip-up hoodies, pullover hoodies, t-shirts, mugs, water cups, necklaces. Shirts come in all sizes: pink, blue, black, red. So click that link up above if you want to support Monkey's Project. It's a project that Brandy Neal Vaughn has been working on for a long time. It's going to be a place where families can come to feel safe and dig in the mud. All proceeds will stay with Monkey's Project until she finds a piece of property to put Monkey's Project on, names Monkey's Project, and figures out all the ins and outs of how to do everything. Also, there is the Vaughn Family Meal Train link up at the top. Please click on that if you can. You can get some kind of credit card so that Brandy can buy the food that she needs for her special diet, or you can click on credit cards or gift cards for certain restaurants and everything else. And they use delivery apps and stuff to get that stuff delivered to the house. And then we have Michael Vaughn's playlist up above where all of the lives that I have ever done on Michael is there. You can click the link. You can learn more. I've done them lives on all 4 suspects. And then you can also join our Michael Vaughn Facebook group. You can join our PNW Facebook group. My email is also up there in the link. And then there's a link to become a member. If you like what you see here, please click that link, become a member. If not, You are good just being a subscriber, lurking for the bushes. It doesn't matter to me. I just appreciate everybody being here for Monkey. So Opal is also in the house. She says, remember to be the change that you wish to see in the world. If nobody told you today, you matter. And you matter to us also, Opal. Thank you so much for being here. We truly, truly love your kindness and your beautiful heart here at Missing PNW. Jen R is in the house. Good to see you. We got Country Kitten in the house. I love that. Country Kitten. Purr. Well, my purr wasn't too great, was it? Let me try that again. Purr. Beach bum forever. I am a beach bum forever. That is my home away from home. We got Nada Drama Nana. I love that so much, but it is a tongue twister. Say that 10 times fast. Good to have you. All right. Well, without further ado, let's start talking about Michael Joseph Vaughn. Michael was abducted July 27th of 2021 in Fruitland, Idaho, from his neighborhood, and there have been 4 named suspects in his abduction and murder. Their names are Sarah Wandra, Stacy Wandra, Adrian Lucian, and Brandon Shurtliff. There may even be other people involved in Michael's abduction. If you know anything about Michael's abduction, if you know anything about these 4 suspects or where they were on July 27th, 2021, or July 28th, July 2021, please call law enforcement. The tip line phone number is 208-642-6006 or email findmichael@fruitland.org. Today we are going over the never heard before phone interview with Brandon Shurtliff. This is part 3. I did an interview with Brandon Shurtliff the day before he came up on my panel. And we will be going over the last part of that interview. We are catching so many slips by Brandon Shurtliff. I can't even believe the stress he is feeling, hearing not only this recording, but putting that together with the live that he did to me. He's got to be seeing the inconsistencies too. Charges are coming. I received a message today and damn, things are moving. These suspects do not have very long. Time is running out. Brandon, Adrian, I suggest you start telling law enforcement what you know. Everything you know. Those charges are coming and it's going to be too late for either of you or any of you to grab a plea deal. Step up to the plate and tell the truth, because time is definitely running out. Brandon, what did you do on July 27th and 28th of 2021? Does anybody know where Brandon Shurtliff was on July 27th, 2021 or July 28th of 2021? Where were you, Brandon? Were you at the Wandras? Were you at your mom's? Did you stay the night at your mom's house on July 27th? Where did you drive to on July 28th, the day after Michael was abducted, Brandon? Were you alone? Sarah said something about you and a drive that you and her took. Now, was that the drive that you and Sarah took after you dropped Adrian off at Applebee's? Or did you and Sarah take a drive on July 28th of 2021, the day after Michael disappeared and was abducted by you or Sarah or Stacy or Adrian? If you want to talk about any of this, you can text me. You can message me on Messenger. I would love to have a conversation with you about some new things that I know. And to, again, tell you to please call law enforcement, tell them everything you know. And if you know where Monkey is, it's about damn time you tell the family and tell law enforcement where he is. Take the plea deal. And don't make your family suffer through seeing you get the firing squad. And Adrian, why are you out there pretending to be mentally unstable to your family and to anyone that asks you questions about Michael? Why does your dad lie to people about where you are? You do realize we know where you are, right? We do know exactly where you are. Adrian, why did you throw the Pope twins under the bus for Michael's abduction? You had 3 other people, Brandon, Sarah, and Stacy. You could have said that they abducted or hurt Michael, but you didn't. You said something about the Pope twins. Why? What was your agenda there? Why were you also trying to get your little redhead girlfriend that you were hanging out with there in Fruitland to become a lady of the night for you? I know it's true. I know for a fact that it's true. You want to know why? Because she said something. She was talking. Did you stress your mom out, Adrian? So bad that she couldn't keep fighting the fight and just gave up? Because she couldn't believe what her son had turned into? A drug dealer on drugs, not acting himself, acting like a thug, giving up his basketball career, giving up college and everything for what? You have not turned out anything like your mama thought you were going to turn out. She's up there in heaven looking down on you, shaking her head, looking at you, telling you, thinking you should be coming forward and helping this 5-year-old little boy get justice. And I think maybe you should listen to your mama. So stop playing. Start telling law enforcement what you know. I know you've recently talked to somebody about Stacy and Sarah too. Why are you talking about Stacy and Sarah? I know you know who took Michael, Adrian, and it's time for you to start talking. And just a little message to Brandon and Adrian and Sarah. Stacy's not liking being in the California federal prison. He does not want to be there. And he is doing everything he can to get out. Or move. Hell, maybe he's even making deals for a transfer. I don't know. But I bet all of us in chat, and I bet all of us here at Missing PNW could see Stacy trying to make some kind of deal to get some kind of transfer to go somewhere else besides California federal prison. Do you guys think Stacy fits in there? I don't know about that. If you have seen Adrian or Brandon, please call law enforcement. Let's just keep some eyes on them. Law enforcement knows where they are, but in case they start to run anytime soon, we need the public out there keeping an eye out. So call the tip line 208-642-6006 or email findmichael@fruitland.org if you know where Brandon or Adrian is, has seen them, know anything. And if you know any information about these suspects, now is the time to come forward. Those charges are coming. Get it off your back. Call in a tip. There are other people out there that have knowledge about these suspects and about Michael's abduction. We know there is. If it's family members, it's time to start talking. If it's friends, it's time to start talking. If you think your tip doesn't matter, it's time for you to make that phone call so law enforcement can determine whether or not your tip is credible. That's their jobs, not yours. If you're holding something back, you're going to live with this for the rest of your life. So call law enforcement. Tell them any tips that you have, any information where any of these suspects were on July 27th, 2021 or on July 28th, 2021. Here is what Brandon Shurtliff said he was going to do.
My freedom anymore. I need to figure out what's going on here and stop the lying and bring the truth to everything that I can and help.
He said he was going to stop lying, bring the truth to everything that he knew, and help. Well, why aren't you helping, Brandon? Brandy has a message for you.
And Brandon, you know what happened to our beautiful baby. Whether you were directly involved, but you know. You need to start talking. You need to come forward. Quit lying, quit hiding. Please tell us where Michael is. Let our family have some rest, please. Let us bring our baby home. We've worked tirelessly, endlessly. Law enforcement, stop protecting these criminals. It's time to tell the truth. It's time to own up. It's time to find Michael and bring him home and stop your BS.
Stop lying. Stop the BS, Brandon. Come forward. Do what you said you were going to do and help. How many times do we have to listen to Brandy beg, Tyson or Tyler beg, the family beg for one of these suspects to come forward and tell law enforcement where Monkey is? Or tell law enforcement what happened? We already know Stacy's out there, Brandon, telling people what you did.
When you came back, why did you come back here?
Trigger warning logs, please, in the chat.
What do you mean, came back there?
Yeah, I mean, like the next day, like you shared with us that, Brandon put him in the guest room, bound up, but then the next day they moved him back here.
You hear that, Brandon? Stacy Wandra told law enforcement that you bound Michael up in the spare room at your mom's house. And somebody drove back to Cuna to bring him back to Fruitland to the Wandra's house. Stacy doesn't want to be in California federal prison. What else is he going to start talking about?
Well, why? Why come with him?
That's a great question. I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
I don't have an answer for that.
What vehicle did they use?
She left me with a Lexus, I believe, that day. So I mean, it would have been her vehicle.
So one of the vehicles, either the Lexus or Sarah's vehicles, were used to go get Michael from Cuna and bring him back to Fruitland? Is that the drive Sarah's talking about, Brandon? Just curious. Was she with you? Was she driving? Were you driving? And Adrian, don't kick back and act like Stacy ain't talked about you either, because he threw you under the bus.
Is the duct tape still going to be over his mouth?
They should be.
Okay.
I didn't watch take them off.
Okay.
So you should have.
I didn't watch him. I didn't watch him, meaning him, take it off. The duct tape from Michael Vaughn's mouth that he is saying Brandon Shurtliff put on Michael. This is the horrific things we are learning in Michael's case. This is horrific information that Brandy Neal Vaughn herself listened to over a year ago. Having nightmares and not being able to sleep at all for months and months and months after hearing this. How in the hell can 4 suspects know exactly where Monkey is and not say something? Because Stacy Wandra is talking.
Everything intact as it was.
How long, give me an approximate time frame it took her to dig and bury?
I don't know, I'd say probably between a half hour to an hour-ish. I want to say. I mean, I think Adrian was helping her, if I'm right about that.
And you hear that, Adrian? You were helping Sarah dig a hole to put Michael Vaughn in? How long do you think it's going to be before one of these suspects just starts flipping like dominoes, one right after another, on everybody, telling them everything? And if they may even give up Monkey and say exactly where Monkey is, and then all y'all are going down. And then the only one person that comes forward to talk about where Monkey is the only one person that's going to get that plea deal. Time is running out for you suspects. How many times do you have to be warned before you realize this isn't a game? We're talking about a child's life. We're talking about a community in Fruitland and a family in Fruitland that are going to do anything and everything they possibly can, not only to find Michael Vaughn, but to charge everyone that they know is involved with his abduction and his murder. No one is going to walk free.
I mean, Adrian's pretty. Brandon wasn't anywhere around that. But I know Adrian's, pretty decent, skinny dude, so he's, his abilities, and he's taller, so his abilities are a little more, spread open, wide open than.
Okay.
Where were you, Brandon? Stacy says you weren't anywhere around when Sarah and Adrian was burying Michael. Where were you? What were you doing? Or is Stacy lying? Is Stacy lying about who buried Michael? These 4 suspects are cowards. Absolute cowards. And Brandon, we have your ex-girlfriend and your buddy, your long time family friend, telling the world that you left Fruitland and went back to your mom's that night. Was it because you didn't want Michael to be at the house without anybody there? Is that when something bad went down and happened to Michael? You didn't want anybody to hear him whimpering and crying in the house, so you had to go back to make sure nobody would find out that Michael was in your mom's house because you were so paranoid you couldn't stay in Fruitland. Was with them that night, correct?
But I know, yes and no. So I do know he did leave that night. I'm not sure where. From what I understood, with his mom, because he told me he had to get away from them for a minute.
Brandon, didn't you say in this interview that I did with you that there was some kind of altercation that happened there at the house and that Adrian left the house that night? Your girlfriend, your ex-girlfriend, saying there was an altercation and you were the one that left Fruitland to go back to your mom's house. Your girlfriend, your ex-girlfriend, and Dan don't even like each other. They don't talk. And you've told 2 different people the same thing. And that is that you left Fruitland and went back to Kuna by yourself. Here's another question by Callie. She is asking, did Brandon say that he left and went back to his mom's house the night that Michael was abducted because he was annoyed with Sarah and Stacy?
I feel like I did hear some shit like that. Let me think about that for a minute. I really.
Daniel really thinks that he heard something like that, Brandon. You're telling the same story to 2 different people. You haven't told the same story to anybody really more than once. Everything you and Stacy says is a lie. You both contradict everything you say. You both have been busted in so many slips and so many lies on YouTube. It's ridiculous. I'm just tired of the fact that there are 4 suspects out there in Michael Vaughn's abduction that have the information that the Vaughn family needs to move on, to have peace, and to even bring Michael back home to lay him to rest. When is someone going to start talking? And anybody withholding any information on Michael's case, law enforcement finds out, you're going to get in trouble for hindering the investigation, and that's just the facts. They're taking everybody down. So if you know anything, call Fruitland 208-642-6006 or email findmichael@fruitland.org. I am so ready for these charges. And I'm frustrated that they haven't happened yet, but I'm also glad because more is able to come forward and be put with those charges that were written out months ago. The only thing that's happened between now and then is that law enforcement's able to dig a bigger hole for all these suspects. Hey, KB, good to see you. So I'm sure you guys are all ready to start going over this interview. I just wanted to throw out some information for Adrian and Brandon and tell everybody, you know, this ain't going away. Charges are coming. If you want to be one of those people that think that the Vaughns had something to do with this and they're never going to be arrested, that the suspects are never going to be arrested, you got another thing coming. You really do. Because the family has had nothing at all to do with Michael's abduction. Nothing at all to do with anything. And it's just so sad that people got to keep trying to talk about it or keep talking about how law enforcement has messed up this case and they haven't done anything. When you're trying to charge not one, but 4 people with an abduction and a murder, it's not all going to happen like you do on an episode on TV of Law and Order, okay? It takes time to build a case and to prosecute it right, and only have to prosecute it once because you only get one chance to prosecute, to lay down the law, to put down the charges, to put them in prison for the rest of their lives. And Fruitland is crossing their T's and dotting their I's and doing everything right. And law enforcement and the Vaughn family stand together, always have.
This week, the Idaho Mountain Search and Rescue with specialty canines and the Fruitland Police Department conducted searches in the front and backyards of nearly all the homes on Southwest 9th Street. Remember that a criminal investigation, that happened at the same time of notification as the time that Michael went missing. And due to the fact that we've conducted multiple searches using every tool available to us with no success, it increases the possibility that Michael was abducted. We also want to emphasize Michael's family, who continues to be fully cooperative, working closely with us on almost a daily basis.
I want to thank the Fruitland Police Department, the state, FBI. I want to thank all of them for their continued support. They have become family, and they are his son too.
To the Vaughn family, this has been an extremely long and emotional road. You don't walk that road alone, right? So I could never fathom how you and your family have suffered. However, I assure you that the Fruitland Police Department will continue to earnestly investigate this case, and everyone here today is a part of your community and a part of your family. We will never stop looking. You need to know that. And I also have joining us today the mother of Michael Joseph Vaughn, Brandy Neal. Thanks for being here with us today. We appreciate you.
Whoever has Michael or knows anything and has information about Michael, please come forward. We need him home. We need our baby. Please. Thank you to the community and extended communities that continue to support our family, and law enforcement, all of the agencies that are helping to bring Michael home. They stand strong, and they stand with us, and we stand with them. So if you are seeing this, please, if you know something, please, if you know anything, please say something. You can be anonymous. There's so many avenues. Please, everyone, help us get Michael home. And Monkey, I love you, baby. You're coming home. None of us are going to give up, I promise. Thank you all for being here tonight.
Hair Curlers and Crime says, how evil do you have to be to listen to this mother who is sick now, beg for her child to be returned to her and do nothing? How evil do you have to be to listen to this mother who is sick now, beg for her child to be returned to her? It's disgusting. I'm mad. I am pissed. I'm over it. It's time for Michael Vaughn to get justice and for the Vaughn family to bring Monkey home. Angel Girl, good to see you. Thank you for coming in. Patchwork Pudding. Man, you make me want pudding every time you come in. Hello. Butterfly Kisses is in the house. KB joined us. This is Brandy's sis. Thank you for coming. I appreciate you so much. I appreciate everybody. Now, let's get to this interview. I know it took a minute, but I had some stuff to say. I had some stuff I wanted to share. Let's get into this interview. I've got 3 clips. 2 of them are short. One of them's a little bit long, but I'm here for the long haul. So let's get through the rest of this interview.
And then I want to go over Sarah's mental health. How was her mental health prior to Michael's disappearance? Like, I've heard about her being out in the driveway, rolling around, talking to this guy and stuff, and that going on. How was her mental health doing?
Okay, so she wasn't doing none of that shit when I was there. I don't know if that happened before or after, but, you know, she's a pretty high-spirited, lifted person, like, loved to carry around her Bible and read verses and this and that. And I feel like she didn't really have, because her and Stacy always didn't really get along so good. In the beginning, they kind of did when I met them, but then they were kind of just starting to argue about little stupid, piddly things, petty shit here and there, I call it. I'm just like, would you two just knock it off and chill out? And then I try to...
You know, I asked him a question about Sarah's mental health. He just vaguely says, you know, that he didn't ever see Sarah, you know, rolling around in the driveway of her place, talking to God, screaming to the sky. And she did do that. But then she starts talking about Sarah and Stacy's relationship and what it was like. So he didn't talk too much about her mental health. I just don't know if this is like some kind of deflection or not, because we all know that after Michael Joseph Vaughn was abducted, Sarah's mental health went downhill drastically, very fast, to the point where Sarah Wandra was writing verses from the Bible on her arms, writing stuff about God on her shirt, saying that God told her to go take a sign and go stand in front of a Mary Jane shop because everybody's sinning. We know in the confession footage that we hear Chris Madonna in the house going through boxes and boxes and boxes and boxes of pocket Bibles. And I know from experience with my own mom, who was in and out of mental institutions my entire life, the one person that she would speak about the most when her mental health went really bad was God. And she swore God was talking to her because she was raised very religious. And so was Sarah. And that's not uncommon to happen when somebody's lost their mind. And I just wonder if Sarah witnessed something, saw something that she didn't expect to happen. Or maybe she just couldn't handle knowing what happened to Monkey. And she just starts going downhill. And you get to watch her go downhill. If you guys have ever taken the time to go over to her TikTok and watch it, like, it starts off, but man, come October, November, her posts, the way she talks, yeah, she is not okay. Hello, lovely Callie. Good to see you, hun.
Like, give Stacy a little bit of guidance or counseling and be like, hey, you really shouldn't be treating your woman that way, and be nice, and, you know, trying to kind of like mentor him a little bit before all this happened. I didn't seem as quite the threat that I do now, I guess I'd say.
Yeah.
But as time went on and this and that, he got more upset and more mad, just because, I don't know, things didn't go his way, or he wasn't making enough money, or whatever the case may be. There's just little arguments over who's going to do. It was mostly about chores and shit too. You know what I mean? Like
right.
Day-to-day living activities, like did you take the garbage out? Did you sweep the floors? Did you mop? Did you get up and give a shit and give a hand? Or you just going to let everybody take care of everything for you for your whole life?
Right.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, I pretty much, even just hearing from, his roommate and his living situation with her, like, she was constantly on him to, like, pick up after himself, and all he ever did was sit on the phone, talk on his phone with the speaker on, and that is just what he did all day, every day, all the time.
Pretty much. And then we were going to start.
Hot mess was Stacy Wandra's roommate, and she said that he pretty much destroyed the room that he stayed in there because he was so filthy dirty. Like spitting his chew spit and everything else in containers, water bottles, you name it, all over the room. The room stunk. He would sit on furniture and break the furniture in her house. I mean, it was disgusting, the pictures that she showed me of the room after he left.
Like a oil change business together, and like small issues that you'd have with vehicles, and try to do that. And then I'm sure that pops up on the internet when you Google it or look it up too. It says Wander's Lube or whatever.
Yeah.
That thing so that was about during that time, and then I did get some tools ran up on my account without permission, and this and that, and like.
So he was just sitting there talking about how some tools were paid for on his account, and he didn't know about it. I mean, they can't even have friends and be friends with one another without scamming each other. So it's no wonder that they all want to throw each other under the bus, lie, whatever to one another. I mean, we've heard about an argument between Brandon and Adrian about a coat. He got upset with Stacy over some things that he took. Those things don't matter. What matters is where's Monkey.
Just a couple things. It's like, man, I wish you would have came and talked to me about that kind of stuff first, and then we had to work out little things like that,
Did
just bickering back and forth.
Did Adrian ever have anything to do with the lube business?
No. So he came here after all that.
Oh, okay.
That was kind of.
So that gives you a little bit of a time frame. Do we know when the lube shop shut down? Does anybody know? Because he is saying that Adrian wasn't there when the lube shop was open, and I believe that lube shop shut down. I want to say like a couple months, but do not quote me on that. I am actually wanting to really look into this. I'm going to take a little note, like lube shop, when did it shut down? Because we all know we've been trying to figure out when Adrian got there. I believe more from Brandon about the time period that Adrian shows up there, which is a week or two prior. I just don't understand how he can be in California on the 24th going to court, unless he left or it was some kind of like a Zoom court hearing or something. But from the sounds of it, it sounds like he may have been in court in California. Yeah, a lot of people think it was a front business, just like the taxi service.
Like me, Sarah, and Stacy's little thing that we were trying to. It was Sarah and Stacy's thing, and I tried to help them with it. That's how it went.
Did Adrian ever help with the taxi business? Did he ever drive their cars and stuff?
No. As far far as I knew, he was just like a customer. And then they met him one day or whatever. Sarah met him, and then she was just trying to be nice and friendly and like give a person a ride and get him a good, meal or this or that, whatever. Try to help people out like they did, and then.
Okay, Brandon, I have had it with your this and that. I really have your this and that. Text me, call me. We need to have another conversation. You've got some serious things to clear up. And go talk to law enforcement before you text me and talk to me. I don't give a shit. Just what's this and that every time somebody asks you a question. Start talking about what we all know you know.
And end up hanging out for a couple days, and then I'm pretty sure that went on for like 1 weekend, 2 or 3 at the most, and then everybody was
pretty sure that happened for 1 weekend, 2, 3 at the most. He's always said he was there 1 to 3 weeks prior to Michael's abduction.
just bickering back and forth, and then it's like, all right, everybody go to your own corner,
Right. Did you ever meet any of Adrian's friends that he hung out with? Or that he talked to?
No. Not really, no.
Okay. Did you guys ever hang out or go do things on your own or go anything like that?
We kind of hung out a little bit down in Ontario. We'd, go do a cruise, and then he'd kind of be there still hanging out with us, not know what to do for the day, so hanging out, and we'd go get a sandwich or, so, what's that? Oh, man, what's that other place? Big Five. Go over by Big Five. Just go kind of cruise out, check little Ontario town out there.
Want to rewind just a little bit right here. Sorry, guys.
What's that? Oh, man, what's that other place? Big Five. Go over by Big Five. Just go kind of cruise out, check little...
Did you guys ever hang out or go do things on your own or go anything like that?
We kind of hung out a little bit down in Ontario. We'd, go do a cruise, and then he'd kind of be there still hanging out with us, not know what to do for the day, so hanging out, and we'd go get a sandwich.
What's he talking about? We go on a cruise. Is he just talking go for a cruise in a car, go drive around or whatever? Because we all know they wanted to go on a cruise when it came to cruising around Laurel Lake.
Sure. So, what's that? Oh, man, what's that other place? Big Five. Go over by Big Five. Just go kind of cruise out, check little Ontario town out there for a bit. But for the most part, we're just hanging out around Fruitland, Ontario area.
Okay. Did he have his own routine? And did you ever, hear him talking on the phone? Acting suspicious, looking suspicious, or saying or doing anything suspicious that you were just what the fuck are you talking about? Just anything that you were just whoa.
We definitely had different interests and stuff like that, so that kind of was starting to happen a little bit, yeah. And then I'd take off, and
that was starting to happen a little bit, yeah. I was pretty specific when I asked him, was there anything that he did that just straight up made you think, what the F? And he says, well, let's hear what he said again.
Did he have his own routine? And did you ever, hear him talking on the phone? Acting suspicious, looking suspicious, or saying or doing anything suspicious that you were just what the fuck are you talking about? Just anything that you were just whoa.
We definitely had different interests and stuff like that, so that kind of was starting to happen a little bit, yeah. And then I'd take off, and I'd be like, hey, Sarah, could you just give me a ride real quick? I gotta go work and go to my other friends and help them do, like, I did concrete work at that time, so I'd have to go over there and help my friend, like, do a little sidewalk project or go shovel dirt or go to work, try to make some money, get your project done, and then come back. And then I'm like, you guys just stay over here and keep arguing back and forth because I've had it. I think you guys aren't working. You're not paying as much.
And then he talks about them all fighting again. And I'm sorry that I have to do this, but I have to rewind again because, you know, we've talked about the fact that Brandon, you know, went and hung out with his construction friends just a couple of days after Michael was abducted. And it's like it's on his mind here or something because he starts talking about his buddies and hanging out with his contractor buddies, landscaping buddies here. And I just want to listen to what he says there again.
Doing anything suspicious that you were just like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, just anything that you were just like, whoa.
I mean, we definitely had different interests and stuff like that, so that kind of was starting to happen a little bit, yeah. And then I'd take off and I'd be like, hey, Sarah, could you just give me a ride real quick? I gotta go work and go.
Yep, things were happening like that a little bit. So he's talking about Adrian getting kind of sketchy, kind of just wondering what he means by that. So Adrian, Brandon, come talk to me. Go talk to law enforcement. We want to know what made you think he was doing some weird stuff, Brandon. What was he doing? What was he saying?
To my other friends and help them do, like, I did concrete work at that time, so I'd have to go over there and help my friend, like, do a little sidewalk project or go shovel dirt or go to work, try to make some money.
And when he mentioned his contracting buddies, his friend, his landscapers, he talks about going over there to lay a sidewalk down or to dig some dirt, do some concrete and dig some dirt.
Get your project done and then come back. And then I'm like, you guys just stay over here and keep arguing back and forth because I've had it. I think you guys.
And then he gets mad at everybody about arguing and he just says, I've had it. Is this anything, Brandon, that happened the day that Monkey was abducted or the day after Monkey was abducted? Because talking about digging and concrete is a little suspicious to me. Talking about an argument that we all know that you had before you went to CUNA, an argument that you've even said happened before you went to CUNA, and I guess there was another one that night because you said there was another argument that broke out and then Adrian left. So was there two arguments? Or are you lying about what time the argument was?
It's not working. You're not paying as much bills, this and that, you know what I mean? You guys are kind of starting to irritate me. I'm just getting mad at everybody, so I'm going to go off and do my own thing. And then I started doing all that, and then they'd pick me up, give me a ride back over there, we'd hang out for a little bit, or I was trying to get my own car going at the time so I could just do my own life, you know?
Yeah.
And he's talking about his car. You know, he just wanted to get his car and like get it running for his own life. It's like he's talking about these things that did happen on July 27th, but he isn't just because this entire interview, this entire conversation that I had with him was about that day. Or I'd ask him questions like, when did you meet Adrian? When did Adrian move in? You know, when did you meet Sarah and Stacy and stuff like that? But when he starts talking on his own and just starts talk, he starts talking about all of the stuff that is so close to the truth that we know. We know he went and hung out with his landscaping friends that did construction and did concrete and digging and stuff 2 days after Michael was abducted. We know there were arguments in the house that he's speaking about. And right here talks about his car. It's almost like he's talking about things that he did that day. Yeah, I'm kind of wondering that myself, Renee. Goodness, I wonder where they laid the concrete and dug the dirt. And no worries, this has been turned over to law enforcement, so. And then Kelly says, according to Dan and Misty, Brandon was annoyed with them and left the house that night to go back to his mom's. So which is it? Exactly. Was it Adrian that left the house, Brandon, or you that left the house? Or both? What's a lie? What's the truth? It just gets more crazy.
But not nothing like super extra out of the ordinary. Nothing like
anything like
there was
selling
a big red flag right away. No.
Like nothing like selling drugs or, you know, talking about pimping girls out or human trafficking or any of that kind of stuff?
Nope. And if they did do stuff like that or talk about it, was when I was not there.
And if they did it when I wasn't there. If they did it, why would you even say if? If they talked about it, you lived with them, you probably heard it if they talked about it.
Okay.
I mean, you can hear, I would hear like, you know, like some probably general crazy remarks, like, oh, you know, maybe goofing around about different girlfriend, this or that or whatever, but not like straight up, oh, we're just going to go kidnap kids and freaking pimp out women. I don't think they ever said that to me ever once.
And you're...
It almost sounds like he's admitting that there was something going on, but not taking kids, not pimping women. But something was definitely going on there. Because he says, maybe there was something. Let's go back.
Car going at the time, so I could just do my own life, you know?
Yeah.
But not nothing like super extra out of the ordinary, nothing like
anything like
selling a big red flag right away, no.
Like nothing like selling drugs or, you know, talking about pimping girls out or human trafficking or any of that kind of stuff?
Nope. And if they did do stuff like that or talk about it, was when I was not there.
Okay.
I mean, you can hear, I would hear like, you know, like some probably general crazy remarks, like, oh, you know, maybe
in general, crazy remarks is what he says. Maybe I heard something in general. What, in general, to the questions that I asked you about drugs, pimping, human trafficking? Wow.
goofing around about different girlfriend, this or that or whatever, but not like straight up, oh, we're just going to go kidnap kids and freaking pimp out women. I don't think they ever said that to me ever once.
And you're saying that Adrian came...
Renee has a good point here. She says, hold on one second, let me roll it up here. One must wonder why he offers this information about his landscaping friends and digging dirt and laying concrete. Could be that he thinks maybe, or people may have seen him, so he's giving an explanation. I love how your brain works, Renee. For real. Is that why he's saying that's what he was out there doing? If anybody seen Brandon, Adrian, Sarah, or Stacy doing anything on July 27th, 2021, the day that Michael was abducted, go back to that day. Remember that day. I know you're going to remember that he came up abducted in your neighborhood. Do you remember anything that day? Earlier that day, what were you doing? Even if it's just seeing one of their vehicles and you turn that in, that gives law enforcement a timeline. You know what I mean? Anything you have, you can give it to law enforcement because timeline is so very important, especially when you got liars. And there's so many, I mean, all 4 of them do nothing but lie. So call the Fruitland tip line at 208-642-6006 or find Michael at fruitland.org. If you have any information in regards to July 27th, 2021 or July 28th, 2021. Those 2 days are crucial. Chris Madonna is talking to Stacy Wandra about the fact that they left to go back to Cuna and bring Michael back to Fruitland on the 28th, the next morning after he was abducted. And from what we're all starting to gather and know now is that Michael may not have been alive when they brought him back to Fruitland. So vehicles, seeing their faces, seeing them walk around, whatever they were doing, if you heard a phone conversation that they had, if you saw them hanging out with somebody else, if you saw somebody else in one of their vehicles, if you saw a different vehicle, if you've seen any of their vehicles stopped in certain locations, anything at all. If you were in that area and you saw them shopping, walking, spending money, in a specific area that's never been mentioned. What, you know, like say you're in Nampa, say you're in Cuna, say you're in Ontario, or that you knew Labor Dave and Stacy says he was with Labor Dave. If you know different, we have to find this timeline. We can help law enforcement. Call in the tip 208-642-6006 or email findmichael@fruitland.org.
When was your first recollection of like ever meeting Adrian?
One night when Sarah went and did a taxi run, and then she brought him over from wherever she picked him up from on one of her rides, and then she's like, okay, where do you want to go? Where do you want to hang out for the day? And then he's like, well, I don't know if I can because my baby mama's schedule is this to that, whatever. And then he ended up like hanging out with us for a couple days, and then I'm pretty sure Sarah and Stacy were like, well, if you want, you could probably hang out over here and help us with our taxi runs or do work or this or that, and that would be why he probably ended up staying a little bit longer than he planned, is what I would say.
Yeah. So was it...
But then everyone started fighting, and then he's just like, that's it, I gotta go.
Yeah.
So he stayed a little bit longer than he thought. And then what's this end part? What is he saying here? Because I'm not understanding what he's saying. Oh my goodness. And then I lost spot. Hold on.
And then I'm pretty sure Sarah and Stacy were like, well, if you want, you could probably hang out over here and help us with our taxi runs or do work or this or that. And
didn't they say that Adrian doesn't even help out with the taxi service? So why is Brandon saying that Sarah and Stacy told him he could help out with their taxi runs? I am so glad that I rewound. What? Because none of them will ever admit to the fact that Adrian had anything to do with the taxi service. Stacy specifically, even though not asked, said multiple times, Adrian never drove our taxi service cars, ever. And he didn't have a driver's license. We would never let him do that. Did you guys hear what he just said?
him over from wherever she picked him up from
and
on one of her rides, and then she's like, okay, where do you want to go? Where do you want to hang out for the day? And then he's like, well, I don't know if I can because my baby mama's schedule is this to that, whatever. And then he ended up like hanging out with us for a couple days, and then I'm pretty sure Sarah and Stacy were like, well, if you want, you could probably hang out over here and help us with or taxi runs or do work or this or that, and that would be why.
Yeah. They're offering him. Brandon is saying they are offering Adrian work to help them run the taxi business. Right there. The biggest slip yet, in my opinion, is putting Adrian driving those taxis around when we have all wondered what they were using their taxi service for. That makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable.
He probably ended up staying a little bit longer than he planned, is what I would say.
Yeah. So was it?
But then everyone started fighting, and then he's just like, "That's it, I gotta go."
Yeah.
So he says, and then everybody started fighting. So he stayed longer than he was going to, but then everybody started fighting, and he's like, "Okay, I'm out of here." So is he talking about that night? Because it sounds like he's talking about that night. Or is he talking about after Michael's abducted and maybe they get into a fight later on down the road and then he says, "I'm out of here"? Yeah, wherever you picked him up from. I mean, he's just, we got to rewind. Let's listen to this whole part where he's talking about Adrian and then letting him back to the house because he's slipping way too much talking about Adrian here.
Extra out of the ordinary, nothing like
Anything like
it would raise a big red flag right away. No.
Like nothing like selling drugs or, talking about pimping girls out or human trafficking or any of that kind of stuff?
Nope. And if they did do stuff like that or talk about it, was when I was not there.
Okay.
I mean, you can hear, I would hear like some probably general crazy remarks like, oh, maybe goofing around about different girlfriend, this or that or whatever, but not like straight up, oh, we're just going to go kidnap kids and
Kelly, exactly. That's what I'm now starting to ask myself. Because this entire time he's like rambled on about the things that he was doing, like mentioning, digging dirt and laying down concrete, mentioning, all of the stuff that he mentions. It sounds like he's talking about that day. So now I'm starting to wonder, is he talking about that day? Is he talking about Sarah picking Adrian up also on that day?
pimp out women. I don't think they ever said that to me ever once.
And you're saying that Adrian came when? I mean, when was your first recollection of like ever meeting Adrian?
One night when Sarah went and did a taxi run, and then she brought him over from wherever she picked him up from on one of her rides, and then she's like, okay, where do you want to go? Where do you want to hang out for the day? And then he's like, well, I don't know if I can because my baby mama's schedule is this to that, whatever.
Sarah went to go pick him up and then asked him where he wanted to go that day or if he wanted to come hang out that day with her. And he says that he doesn't know if he can or not because he's going to go hang out with his baby's mama. And that's the day they go to Applebee's, from what I understand, because he didn't see baby's mama a bunch of times. He only met his son one time the entire time he was in Idaho. I know that for a fact. One time. Although he tells people that the reason he was in Idaho was to be more a part of his son's life.
And then he ended up like hanging out with us for a couple days, and then I'm pretty sure Sarah and Stacy were like, well, if you want, you could probably hang out over here and help us with our taxi runs or do work or this or that, and that would be why he probably ended up staying a little bit longer than he planned, is what I would say.
Yeah. So was it...
But then everyone started fighting, and then he's just like, that's it, I gotta go.
Yeah.
But then everybody's fighting, and he's like, okay, I'm out of here. Gotta go. Like an alibi of Adrian, was there Why didn't baby's mama give him a ride or pick him up? Because baby's mama didn't want to be in the car with Adrian Lucy, and she wanted nothing to do with him. She was scared of him. She was even skeptical about letting him even meet his son. Their relationship wasn't great when they split up. She didn't want to be alone with him. He never stayed the night at her house while he was there. Their relationship was not like that. She wanted to meet him in a public place for him to meet his son because she didn't want to be around him, anywhere around him alone, terrified of Adrian.
I'm sure there were some pretty heated conversations, you know, after Michael's abduction.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure there was some pretty heated conversations after Michael's abduction. Oh yeah. He doesn't even hesitate. Doesn't even hesitate. I mean, it's almost like admission right there. Why would they even be arguing after Michael's abduction? What would Michael's abduction have to do with their arguments, I guess, is the better question.
So you're saying Sarah picked him up from somewhere and brought him back, and then so when was that? I mean, do you remember? Was it a few days before Michael came up missing? I'm pretty
sure it was like a week, or probably like a week before, a week or two before.
He always says a week or two, maybe 3 weeks, but he always says a week. Do you remember the TikTok where they are driving through the country the morning Michael was abducted? Were they picking up Adrian from the airport? I don't know. Were they picking him up from the airport? Were they picking him up behind a dumpster like they say in Nampa? I'm not sure where the airport is. No, it's in Boise, but I'm not sure like what the roads and stuff look like heading out there. I don't know. But I do remember there is a TikTok video. Need to find that video, actually. We could play it. I meant that Brandon had friends to dig dirt and lay concrete, not his mom. Sorry. Oh, you're fine, Renee. That TikTok post was like 6:37 o'clock a.m. They also have that shower one with Stacy Wander like getting out of the shower and stuff, and they make fun of like something that Stacy says or something, some word that doesn't exist. That was also posted that day too. Hello, Aussie True Crime. Great to see you. Yeah, I don't know. This is just crazy. Like this is basically an admission here, you know, that they're arguing right after Michael's abduction, the way he was like, "Yep, let's hear it again."
So you're saying Sarah picked him up from somewhere and brought him back, and then so when was that? I mean, do you remember? Was it a few days before Michael came up missing? I'm pretty
sure it was like a week, or probably like a week before, a week or two before, maybe 3 weeks. It was before that happened for sure. Yeah, maybe even a month.
Okay, and you'd never met him before? You know, because Stacy's got stories that go all the way back. Like he was there first. He says he was.
Exactly, Callie. Like, apparently this argument was unforgettable. It was a huge, big, and from my, I understand, yes, it was a big blowout. It was huge. And the only one thing, since it happened that day, that I can think of, since they're all four suspects, that it could have been about was Michael Vaughn. Because one of them was stupid enough, and I hate the word stupid, you guys, but stupid enough to abduct a child from their own neighborhood. That would be a pretty big argument, in my opinion. Yeah. But can't remember what it was about. Can't remember what the argument was about.
There a few months prior. Then he says he was there, a couple months prior, and then it was the beginning of the month, and and now Brandy's saying that he was in California just a few days prior to Michael's abduction doing a court hearing. So do you ever remember him leaving Fruitland and going to California and then coming back after the court hearing? I mean, you may not even know about it.
Yeah, I mean, they never told me that. They never told me their business, so I don't really know what they're planning, but I heard that he used to live in California.
I don't know what they were planning. That was a strange statement. Very strange statement. I don't know what they were planning. Yeah, what were they planning, Brandon?
Ohio or something like that. That's how that story got put on the news. And, I mean, how my talking to somebody on the phone one day got broadcasted into a YouTube channel or whatever happened.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I'm telling you guys, this entire interview is just crazy with him. He has slipped and said so much. Now, when this is all over with, when we're done, adding commentary to this or whatever, I'm going to try, because I think I did figure out how to put up the whole entire interview. And then we'll be able to really, look at both. I know Callie is dying to have the entire interview up because she nitpicks, goes at, and looks at everything all the time. She is amazing when it comes to going through everything that Brandon and Stacy has said, interviews that they have done. It's insane. She finds a lot of information. And let's just go ahead and go right into this next clip.
So I'm relaying this message to you for you to think about, just in case you may know something. I'm not saying that you do. I just want to make that clear. I don't want you to think I think you're lying to me. I just want you to know that's on the table. And
I'm not lying.
I had to redact some information there, but I did let him know that there were things on the table. And they were the same things that were offered to Adrian Lucian. And that was something that I had to redact out of the beginning of this clip. So I just want you guys to know, because there were things that had to be taken out that public can't know.
And that is pretty much the truth of what happened when I was there. And even me opening my mouth a smidgen after what was happening to me about that video getting out when I didn't want it to get out that way, because I was kind of a little buzzed that day, to be honest. You know what I mean? But still, this is something that I take,
You just work so hard, Callie. You really do. You work so hard re-listening, recording, doing everything that you do. I mean, I know how much you love your sister. I know how much you love your nieces and nephew. And I just, respect everything that you do. And I love our phone calls too. Our late night phone calls. Yeah, pretty much the truth. I heard that too, Flo. Good catch. Yeah, in the beginning when he's talking here, he just it's pretty much the truth. Everything that I've been saying, and he talks about going on the JLR show. Let's rewind a little bit, because I think there was something in there.
I'm not lying, and that is pretty much the truth of what happened when I was there. And
that's pretty much the truth of what happened when I was there. And I had just got done telling him that I believe that Adrian had some knowledge, which we all know that I believe that. Law enforcement has said that.
Like, even me opening my mouth a smidgen after what was happening to me about that video getting out when I didn't want it to get out that way because I was kind of a little buzzed that day, to be honest. You know what I mean? But still,
he has to just let me know he was a little bit buzzed that day, being in the hot tub, talking to JLR. Well, it doesn't matter if he was buzzed or not. He was still talking JLR's ear off.
you know, this is something that I take, like, very seriously. And it's not just going away like they say. And it's freaking, he did see something like that or did know something like that. And, like, why would somebody just go out of the blue and say they've seen something like that or know something about like that if they didn't matter or not? That's still like
right.
Exactly. Why would anybody say that they saw something like that if they didn't? Why would anybody say anything like that?
It just fucking blows my mind, to be honest. Excuse French, but
No, you're fine. I just wanted to let you know that that's what they offered him, and I'm pretty sure they would offer you the same if you called to talk to them about anything, if you wanted to,
And they pretty much did offer Brandon a plea deal when they went to Montana a while back ago.
needed to for any reason. I just wanted you to know that. I'm not, I'm not really close or anything with Brandy. I just, I do YouTube stuff. I talk about information that I know that's out there, information that Fruitland talks about. I go over Stacy's interviews and stuff and kind of just speculate on my own about how I feel. And yeah, after seeing Stacy act so friggin' monstrous, I really started changing my feelings about you and thinking,
And by the way, just to let you guys know, little FYI, I am pretending to be whoever Brandon needs me to be at this time to earn his trust.
what, maybe Brandon's just a guy that got caught up in a bunch of shit. And yeah, so I was really happy to hear from Daniel and stuff when they were like, hey, Brandon wants to talk to you. And I really appreciate you talking to me, but even more so, I know for a fact how thankful Brandy is to be in communication with you. I really appreciate you. Yeah. I know that that's a difficult thing to do, to reach out to her, text with her, especially when you're a suspect. Yeah. And I'm sure it makes you nervous, but I'm telling you now.
The hardest thing I ever had to do in my life for a second there, and I don't know. I really look forward to talking to her on the phone one time, and this whole thing, like when they say that this does scare me, this does bother me, this does bottle me up, this does shut me down, this messes with my head, my mind, my will, my emotion, everything. That is all true, because this is just not something that happens to me every day, and I never thought I'd be a part of something like this happening to me in my whole entire life. So that's why it's like, I take it serious, and it's important to me.
He takes it serious, but he doesn't take it serious enough to actually do the right thing and tell law enforcement what he knows about Michael's abduction, what happened to Michael on July 27th, 2021. He doesn't tell Brandy. He never calls her like he says that he was going to do, even though they had been text messaging with each other. They never have a phone call. He knows that Brandy wants and needs answers, knows that she's begging for them, and he does nothing. Law enforcement thinks that he knows where Monkey is, and he won't give that information up, so that the Vaughn family can, lay Michael to rest.
Yeah, I guess is what I'm trying to get at.
Totally playing the victim here. Brandon, you are not the victim. The only victims in this ordeal is Michael Joseph Vaughn, Monkey, and the entire Vaughn family. in the community of Fruitland. The people that you have hurt are bigger than you. And that's why charges will be coming.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure, you know, I mean, if you're guilty of doing anything, yeah, it's a rough road. Even if you're not guilty of doing anything, it's still going to be a rough road because you're being called a suspect. You know what I mean? Like, I can't even imagine. I can't imagine putting myself in your position or Brandy's position. So,
definitely got its stresses or its weight, and you know, it just, I don't know.
I do think, I mean, I know that Daniel and Jessica mentioned something about you possibly wanting to come up on panel and talk about things. I already know you're nervous talking to me. I would love to have you come up. I could like write out some questions we just went over and talked about. You can tell the world the same thing you just told me, and you know, just put your side of the story out there. And we could either have Daniel come up with you, we could have Brandy come up with you. Now I think Brandy might make you a little bit nervous, but we could do it that way, or you could come up all by yourself. I mean, if that's something that you're wanting to do.
I'm going to tell you right now, just honestly, from the bottom of my heart, that is something that before I was more scared about and more like silenced about out of my own will, and now I feel like, or by maybe others will, but now I feel like I wouldn't be opposed to that. I think that that'd be a great idea, and that needs to be something that is going to have to take place. And you know, I've never met Brandy personally before because, like I said, I never knew her, the kid, the family, nothing before all this happened. But as everything goes the way it goes, you know, that might be one good time to meet her in person, you know, or the whole family or whatever.
Yeah.
To send regards. And
you do not have to come on my panel. I am not doing any of this for clicks, likes, and views. That is not my gig. I just think that it's important for everyone to know how you're doing. You know, I'm with somebody, I'm having a baby, I'm back in Montana. This is what's going on with me. I haven't gotten an indictment. I don't know anything about an indictment. You know, when is the last time Fruitland, by the way, has tried contacting you? Do you know?
I'll tell you like this. I definitely tried contacting them more times than they contacted me. But at the time, I was pretty upset, and it's like I didn't want to really go over some of the things I was thinking at that time with him. But I called and left him.
The way he says that he has contacted them more than they've contacted him, I just don't know that I believe that. I do want to read this message, though, before it disappears up here on my chat on my computer. Kelly says, you know what's probably the worst thing in the entire world to go through is having your child taken from you, Brandon. You need to stop thinking about yourself and do the right thing for once. It's exactly what you need to do. And yeah, they are all weirdos. They all lie.
A couple messages, and you know, like I feel different about it now than I do then, because in the beginning was like in a little tiny way, but
well, do you have like a Fruitland officer's phone number, or are you just calling the sheriff's department?
I think I just called the sheriff's department before or something.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I could message Brandy and get you a number to an officer to speak with. That way you can actually talk to somebody when you call versus, you know, having to just leave a message. I can shoot it your way. Yeah, I can shoot it your way. If you choose to call, you call. If you don't, you don't. I'll shoot it that way to you. That way you actually have an officer, so at any time you feel like you might want to talk about anything, that you have a number to talk specifically to somebody. And I know there's a woman. Her name is Juanita. I do not know her last name. She's actually the voice in the background on those confession tapes. And I had to give in a tip that was given to me in a message. And she was really nice to me over the phone. So maybe.
I don't know. I would be saying that in here and expecting to ever come talk to you again, hun. Brandon ain't going to talk to me anymore. He hasn't been doing anything but playing games. He's never going to talk to me again. I doubt it very seriously. He hasn't even read my last message that I sent him. And our relationship was over long before I started talking crap about him, because I tried to keep that relationship with him as long as I could. And he just wants to play games and lie. And I would rather put out the truth, put out more information, and hear all the different contradictions and let the public hear that information instead of keeping it to myself than to keep playing Brandon's games.
Maybe I'll try working on like maybe getting you her phone number or something, just so that you have it. And yeah, just trying to think if there's any.
And I did give him a phone number for an officer at the Fruitland Police Department, and he had that. So I wanted to make sure he had a good phone number and not just, the sheriff's office phone number. I didn't want his messages getting lost in the mix if he actually was calling them.
I mean, I appreciate you telling me those things about yourself, too, and I feel like I heard that reputation of you before I met you, that you're not in it for just clicks, likes, and views, and this and that and everything, so that's why I decided to try and get a hold of you and, try to explain myself first to you, because it was kind of like recommended a little bit that, you're not trying to, you come against me like everybody else in their opinion. Sometimes you just want to hear more about it. So
Right, exactly.
I'm not thinking he's in the Spokane area. No. He is in northern Idaho, from what I understand, Shannon.
If I was in it for clicks, likes, and views, I would take all of these messages that I have about Adrian and put out all this information about Adrian that I have, but I haven't, and I won't until I get the okay that I can do that. Because I won't hinder Michael's investigation in any way, shape, or form. I'll never do that. I actually work on Kyron Horman. He's been missing for 14 years. He's actually a local near me where I live. And honestly, I was asked to do the Michael Vaughn case by Brooks, and I was like, who's that? I didn't even know who he was. And then I found out that the Kyron Horman Foundation, the other boy that I've worked on for years, the Kyron Horman Foundation actually funds and helps the Michael Vaughn case by giving Brandy like flyers and stuff for Michael. So it turned out really crazy that it all was kind of connected, and I always believe everything happens for a reason. So I really feel like I'm here because I'm supposed to be here. So
that's that. And I'm sure we're all very thankful for that, and especially me included, very thankful to have met you and got to speak with you a little bit. And I don't know, I hope to take myself one day to where I can learn how to do YouTube better and figure some things out, and maybe go that way one day too. But I'm just trying to clear my name, help out, and maybe help work and get money and put stuff in those funds, take care of my own family, you know what I mean? Got a kid on the way, got stresses of my own, worries of my own, and I think that by working together as a community, that'd be the best thing that you could do than just to work against each other in the community, because that's not going to do anything.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what Fruitland is doing, Brandon, working together as a community to bring in tips to, be there for the Vaughn family when shit hits the fan, when charges come out. The community will be behind the Vaughn family. They will be ecstatic that you guys have charges pressed against you, and they will be there for the Vaughns, doing anything and everything they possibly can to make sure that you, Sarah, Stacy, and Adrian all go down for what you have done to Michael. You can count on it. So I'm glad that you talked about the community, because the community, the public, is never going to forget what happened on July 27th of 2021. Ever. They remember that like it was yesterday. The community got involved in searching for Michael, looking for Michael, spending their time being there for the Vaughn family, going out to candle vigils for Monkey, praying with the family. That is what a community does. That's what the public does. They get together and become one in the search for Michael Joseph Vaughn when he was 5 years old. So you better start talking. You're not going to be able to run and hide. That's just it. That's never going to happen. So start talking about what you know. This is the last part of the interview. Let me just put this up here real quick.
Glad that you.
What was said back then?
I'm just really glad that you reached out to me too, because I don't want you to go down for any of this if you didn't have anything to do, with anything, because you could go to the prison for the rest of your life because of bullshit lies told by Stacey Wandra or Sarah. It's not a game. This is your life. Yeah.
Right.
This is your life. You already have a daughter. You've got another kid on the way. I'm sure you want to be around for all of that, so.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I appreciate you calling me and talking with me and everything. I'd love to have you on the show. Like I said, though, if that's something you don't want to do too, that's fine. I would love to keep talking with you, especially like if you remember anything else. If I maybe, think of more questions or something to ask or something, I would love to have another phone conversation, or, me, you, and Brandy. We could also have a 3-way phone conversation too, if that would make you feel a little bit more comfortable talking with her. I'm just here for you in any way. If you need me for anything, reach out to me. Text me, call me. I have you in my phone, so whatever you want to do from here,
Yep. Yes, I appreciate that. Yeah, my girlfriend tries to help me, and, she tells me who that is helping and who that is not helping, and, like, her wishes and this and that, other young ladies' wishes, and just people out there in the world that are good people, you know what I mean? You can't just stay silent on something that you didn't see happen if everybody thinks you did see it happen, but then there's a lot more that comes in between that, ins and outs, and
Yeah, like I said.
And it's just.
Let me rewind a little bit right here. Good to see you, Mandy. Thanks for coming in.
Yep. Yes, I appreciate that. Yeah, my girlfriend tries to help me, and, she tells me who that is helping and who that is not helping, and, like, stay silent on something that you didn't see happen if everybody thinks you did see it happen, but then there's a lot more that comes in between that, ins and outs, and,
Yeah, like I said.
And it's just, I'm trying to get over those constantly for years, and then doing with other stressful things, it's a lot of wear and tear sometimes, but I still try to maintain and keep pushing on, you know?
Yeah.
And that's all I can hope for everybody else.
Yeah, like I said, I just don't want to see you go down for anything that you didn't do. And let's face it, last time Stacy was sitting in jail, he told a bunch of shit and he got moved from the jail to prison already. I don't know what prison yet, but I did hear that he's already been transferred from Ada County to a prison. I'm actually trying to find that information out. It takes a couple days for the federal system to like update itself when they're moved. But yeah, I wouldn't put it past Stacy to continue to talk, to continue throwing people under the bus. So that's why I think it's just really important to, you know, keep having conversations and you know, getting your story and stuff out there and talking about things. So, because the more
I agree.
yeah, the more you do that, the better off you're going to be in the long run. So,
Yep. And that's, yep,
You know, I really just wanted to get him as nervous as I can possibly get him, to see if I could get him to say anything before our conversation was over. You know, just telling him you're going to spend the rest of your life in prison. Stacy's talking while he's in prison. When else is he going to be talking? Like, just to get him to try to talk more. And I mean, now the confession footage is out there. Stacy Wandra is saying that Brandon bound Michael up with duct tape in his mom's spare room. Like, Stacy is going to continue to talk. He will make any deal he can possibly get with law enforcement and spew out whatever he knows in order to get it. In my opinion, I believe he will.
multiple people tell me that same thing, so it must be starting to become true. It is.
I do. I really do believe that. You got to clear your name, Brandon. You're one of the, you know, I'm just going to be straight up. This is me straight up, and I'm blunt sometimes. So me being straight up with you is you are one of 4 suspects. I know for a fact that DA will be bringing charges on all 4 suspects. I don't know when that's going to happen, but I know that is going to happen. And now is the time for you to start to talk. Please talk to Fruitland Police. Please talk to Brandy. If you know anything, I mean, like I always tell people,
Shannon, I honestly believe that if Misty coached him into saying anything, she was coaching him to get him to talk, because that's what she wanted him to do. She wanted him to clear his name. She was actually getting to the point where if he didn't clear his name, it was over. It's one of the reasons they're no longer together. He just kept saying, I want to clear my name. I want to clear your name. If it wasn't for Misty and Dan, Brandon would have never talked to me. He would have never came up on a live. He would have never had the text messages, the phone calls, nothing. If she was in the background talking to Brandon, it was to get him to talk about things, not keep him from talking about certain things. That's my personal opinion, but that I have that opinion because I've spoken with Misty, you know, a lot. And even though, you know, she gets on things, I do believe her intentions and the aspect of getting him to talk were actually very good. And she just wanted him to talk to somebody that he could trust, and they trusted me. Brandon will be mad when he realizes he screwed himself because he's so selfish. His mother is disappointed in him too. In my opinion, he looks about this big, sad, pathetic human. Yeah, he tries to play the victim all the time, Mandy. He really does. Start becoming true. This is real as it gets, Brandon. It's not a lie, and it's not a game. Where's Michael?
People on my channel, if you see something, if you know something, say something. And that's just me being blunt. That's not me telling you I know you know something. Those are just the facts. And you know, I don't know when things are going to go down, but I know it's coming, Brandon. It's coming soon. And I'm sorry if that scares the shit out of you, because it probably does. I mean, I know it would scare the shit out of me. And I don't know what evidence they have to bring charges on you. I don't know if that's because somebody's talking. And if you didn't call and get a hold of Fruitland after Brandy put that information out and Adrian didn't do it, that only leaves 2 other suspects that came forward and talked, and they're both sitting in prison right now. So, and whatever they've been spewing hasn't been anything but lies, or, you know, I don't even know what else they would be saying, honestly. I do know that there's so much more to that confession.
Ken and I have been needing so much information, and I know you and I have talked about you getting me some information, but for the life of me right now, I'm having a brain fart and can't remember what it was that you and I spoke about. Can you email me? I will put my email in here real quick. I think we've already talked in emails, I'm pretty sure. And I'm sorry that I can't remember. I have so many people. You wouldn't believe how many people I get that email me, that message me, and everything about Monkey's case. Sometimes it's very, very overwhelming. And I'm talking like in the hundreds of messages. There was some kind of big altercation the day that Michael was abducted. Sometime after Michael was abducted. That's all we know. Between all of them, all 4 suspects.
So who knows what the hell they're gonna say. And if you don't have anything to do with Michael's abduction, with his murder, with moving his body, but you do have knowledge of things that happened or who did what or whatever, now would be the time to talk. So like I said, that's just me being a blunt bitch, and I just want you to, you know, I want you to know the facts, and I would hate to see anybody, you know, go down for something like this if they didn't have anything to do with it. So.
Yep. And we're on the same page.
Well, I'll let you go. I don't want to keep you on the phone all day, but like I said, if you want to talk again, let me know. If you think of anything that you remember, you know, let me know, or we can have a conversation, or we can set up a time for you to come up on panel. Whatever you want to do.
Good.
I mean,
Thank you.
All right.
You're welcome. I mean, I could throw up a thumbnail in 10 minutes and have you up on panel in an hour if you wanted to, just saying. But,
wow.
I mean, I want to let you know too, if you come up on panel, I will be letting my mods know not to be letting people trash talk you, to put them in timeout. And maybe I'll even turn, I wonder if there's a way I can turn the comment section off. I don't know. I'm new to streaming.
I did. I seriously contemplated turning off the comment section so that he couldn't see anybody bashing him, because I was so worried he would leave panel if he came. Kelly says here, their families have to be asking questions. Brandon and Stacy's mothers are probably wondering, why isn't he talking to LE? Yeah, and I'm sure Sarah's mom is doing the same. I mean, I heard that when the plea deal came out, Brandon got an attorney, and that him, his mom, and the attorney were going to go to Fruitland, and Brandon was going to talk. But then Brandon changed his mind and didn't go into Fruitland. And then I heard that Brandon didn't have an attorney anymore. And I knew the attorney he had was paid for by his mom. So did she stop paying for that attorney because he wouldn't go to Fruitland to talk? And from what I also understand, Brandon and his mom are on and off when it comes to their relationship. You know, he got pretty aggravated with her over different things having to do with things that he inherited when his grandpa passed away, and different properties that were his. And he felt like his mom was scamming him, trying to take these things away from him. So they were having like some pretty big blowouts over some pretty big things over the last few years. I don't know how much Brandon trusts his mom right now, and I don't know that his mom trusts him at all. Because like Misty, he keeps saying he's had nothing to do with it and he's going to clear his name, but he never goes and does it. And yes, you can turn them off, Flo. I did find out that I could. I almost did, but I didn't want to upset my members, my subscribers, or anybody that was going to come in, so I didn't do it. I was just kind of just letting them know, like, I'd do anything to make him feel comfortable, you know, to come up on panel.
I'm new to streaming. Yeah, I don't know if that would piss people off or if I would lose like people, but I wonder if I can do that. I know somebody I can actually ask if I can do that, because if I could do that, that'd be great. But if I can't, and there are people in chat saying bullshit, please, please, please just ignore them. For real, just ignore them.
Because we all know there's going to be people out there that want to talk, want to say something, want to comment, and that's perfectly fine. I just did not want him watching the comment section. And Callie, exactly. That's what I'm saying. His family has to be asking themselves why he won't follow through with what he said he has, or that he was going to do. And that's right. Could you imagine how his family feels now? Coming up on my panel, saying what he said, and then this recording of things that he has said. Does Brandon's family sit back and watch this and listen and learn and go, oh my God, I can't believe he said that. Oh my God, that almost sounds like an admission. And in this recording and in that live that he did with me, how many times did we say, oh my God, that sounded like an admission? He did it over and over and over again with different ways, different wording. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Just pretty crazy how many times it almost sounded like he was admitting to doing something. Okay, let me see. Okay, yes, send it to me. Mandy, yeah. I changed my mind about Brandon being a mama's boy, and this is after a Facebook message. Or wait, that his mom made, because it's one reason I changed my mind about Brandon being a mama's boy. Yep, I'd love to see that. Thank you, Flo, for that information. Yeah, I know there's a way to do that, but I am a computer dinosaur. I'm just learning. But I know there is ways to do that, like just have the interview and record it and do, you know, release it whenever. I know that my StreamYard though is like completely full. It keeps telling me on my StreamYards that I have ran out of room for any recordings. I don't know. I'm a dinosaur when it comes to all of it. Let's finish the last bit of this interview. Only like a minute left.
But yeah, if you want to go live later today, shoot me a text and say you want to go live, and I'll set it up. So think about it.
Okay.
Let me know.
I will.
All right, Brandon. Thank you so much for calling with me or talking with me.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, it was great to meet you, and thank you for everything you did and helping me out and getting to the bottom of this. So,
yep.
We'll contact out.
All righty. Well, we'll talk again.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Enjoy the
Thank
rest
you.
of your day.
You too, Brandon.
Bye.
Bye.
And that entire conversation that I had with him, I had already been talking to Dan Guthrie for weeks and his wife, and texting back and forth with Brandon, talking with Brandon through messages and everything else, weeks and weeks of it, before I could ever even get him on the phone with me. And I really do owe it to Misty and Dan for helping me get in contact with Brandon. Tick-tock. Tick-tock. Brandon, Adrian, time is up. It is time, because we want Michael Joseph Vaughn home so he can be laid to rest, and so his family can have the peace that they deserve. 4 suspects in Michael Joseph Vaughn's murder and abduction, and their names are Stacy and Sarah Wandera, Adrian Lucian, and Brandon SHURTLIFF. Brandon SHURTLIFF has been accused of bounding Michael up with duct tape in his mother's house in her spare bedroom. We are learning that from Stacy Wandera. We have also been told by Stacy Wandera that Sarah and Adrian dug the hole in the Wandera's backyard to bury Michael, and that Michael was buried with duct tape around his mouth and put into a garbage bag. Michael deserves justice. How dare you do that to a 5-year-old little boy? How dare you take Michael from his family and the people that love him? Michael was abducted on July 27th of 2021 in Fruitland, Idaho, in his neighborhood, 4 minutes away from where the Wanderers lived. Evidence. Based on evidence, law enforcement believes that Michael's body was buried in the Wanderers' yard and later moved to an unknown location, and the Vaughns and law enforcement still do not know where Monkey is. We are Monkey's army, and we're never going to give up. We're never going to stop fighting for justice. If anybody in chat wants to know what you can do, you can share Monkey. You can share his face. You can share his story. Take a flyer, post it on social media. Whenever you get the chance, tell people, talk about Michael. Michael has a story. Anybody out there has any information about Michael's abduction, or has any information to give law enforcement about Stacy Wandera, Sarah Wandera, Adrian Lucian, or Brandon SHURTLIFF, come forward. Get it off your chest. Know that you did the right thing. Call 208-642-6006 or email findmichael@fruitland.org. There is a reward for over $52,000 for any information leading to Michael's whereabouts or leading to closure in this case. You can also remain anonymous. And it's not going to be easy if you have a credible tip to make that tip. And we know that. But the Vaughn family needs you to come forward. July 27th, 2021 is the day that Michael was abducted. Where were you? What were you doing? What do you remember about that day? Do you remember seeing Sarah, Stacy, Adrian, or Brandon? If you did, where were they? What were they doing? Were they in a vehicle? Were they walking? Were they talking with somebody? July 28th, 2021, the day after Michael was abducted. The neighborhood was hectic. Do you remember seeing Brandon, Adrian, Sarah, or Stacy? Where were they? What were they doing? What were they driving? Who were they with? Were they alone? Any type of information like that is worth calling Fruitland Police Department at 208-642-6006. Email findmichael@fruitland.org. Law enforcement will decide if your information is credible. And don't forget, your tip could match somebody else's tip. It could match 4 or 5 other people's tip. It makes that information even more credible. You can't just sit on information that you believe you might have in regards to a 5-year-old little boy's abduction and murder. You can't. Michael is coming home to his family so he can be put to rest. This isn't a game. Information that you might have isn't something you can keep to yourself without feeling guilty about it for the rest of your life. If you're a family member of Stacy, Sarah, Adrian, Brandon, and you've got information that you're keeping to yourself, shame on you. Whether they're your brother, sister, son, daughter, cousin, niece, nephew, it doesn't friggin' matter. They need to pay for what they've done. And if you're holding any information back and law enforcement finds out about it, you're hindering the investigation and you will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Fruitland isn't messing around. Everybody that has any knowledge of Michael's abduction and murder is going down with these 4 suspects. Charges have been written up. More charges, I'm sure, have been added to the charges that were written up months back. Tips are still pouring in. I love the Vaughn family. I'm never going to stop. I love Michael. Although I have never met the Vaughns, I have never met Michael. My heart stands with the Vaughn family. And I have faith in law enforcement in Fruitland that there will be closure, that there will be charges, that these 4 suspects will sit in prison for what they have done. And I do believe that all 4 suspects know exactly what happened to Michael. Please come forward and do the right thing. The telephone number for the Fruitland tip line is 208-642-6006, or you can email findmichael@fruitland.org. Over $52,000 reward, and you can remain anonymous. Can you imagine? Just imagine. You turn in that tip, and Brandy and the Vaughn family gets a phone call that, hey, they got a tip in and XYZ. Now we really got them. We got the one piece to the puzzle that put this puzzle together, and damn, you just became Michael's hero. You just became the Vaughn family's hero. Don't you want to be a hero? Because not coming forward is what a coward does. You guys all so much for coming in, for being here, for the Vaughn family, for supporting Monkey. Lynn, Brandy's sister, says, cowards, all of them. They cannot even be human to hear this poor mom and continue to speak their lies. Brandy has begged Stacy Wandra up on my panel. She has begged Brandon to tell her where her son is. We heard a clip from Buggy herself. Buggy's so small she doesn't understand. That's Michael's little sister. She thinks that people have Monkey and they're protecting him because she doesn't understand how Michael's going to come home. Karma and justice is coming, and God is watching and listening to these suspects. Now is the time to clear your conscience, because once the arrests are made and the judge or jury convicts you, it's too late. Exactly. No more plea deals. No more nothing. I will never understand how anyone could do something this horrible and continue to torture the family. They are evil through and through. McSporran, thank you for being here. I don't know how anybody could listen to Brandy beg and plead. Melissa, thank you for coming in. Even though you're late, you can join that replay crew, hon. Anyone aiding and protecting them to prevent justice for Michael will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Oh, thank you so much for coming in. She's passionate, she says. She is passionate. I was crabbing on the Oregon coast. I went the next day and made flyers at Fred Meyer's and started posting flyers. I did over 5,000 flyers on the coast that summer from Washington to California. Oh my goodness, you are an angel. Thank you so much. That is amazing. I don't know where you crab in Oregon, but that's where we go crabbing. We go to Garibaldi. We go to Newport. We go down to Westport, Washington. We head all the way down the coast in Oregon to go crabbing. It is the absolute best place to go crabbing. I hope you caught your limit. That is definitely some passion right there. Allie tells her sister, I love her so much. And to see a little one hurt and beg for her brother is gut-wrenching. There's some things in life you shouldn't hear, and that is one of them. I love the Oregon coast. It's my absolute favorite place to be, Flo. Like, that is my home away from home. Matter of fact, I miss it so much. It's so expensive to go to the beach now. KB says, thank you, Flo. We appreciate you more than you know. That is Brandy's sister right there. Thanking you, Flo. Kimberly, thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate you for coming in. I'm just going to go through all the comments here. I love hearing what everybody has to say. Messages you might have for Brandon. You know, it does take an army, and we are Monkey's army, and we're never giving up. Um, let's see. You guys are truly, truly amazing. I got the best damn chat ever. All right, you guys. Well, I may or may not be live tomorrow. Click that notification bell. I was thinking about doing a live on Kyron tomorrow night. Since this interview that I did with him, I am trying to do as many Kyron lives as I can before June 4th when I do my all-day live. That is actually already posted up for an upcoming live. It's usually 6 to 8 hours. It starts at noon on June 4th, 2025. Please come join me and support Kyron. He's been missing for 15 years. And thank you, Hair Curlers in Crime, and thank you, Kelly. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you, Sarah. And Halo Art, my moderators. They're beautiful. They're amazing. They're hardworking. They're never going to give up fighting for Michael. Justice is coming, Flo. It's coming. Let me tell you. I talked to Brandy today for just she sent me a little voice message today, and it was a great message. I can't go into too much detail, but again, those charges are coming. Keep an eye out. You want to click the notification bell, because if I hear charges has went out, I'm going live immediately. There will be no time to throw up a thumbnail, nothing. I'm going live. I'll be messaging my mods, telling them what happened, and coming up on live. So click the notification bell, please, if you want to be here for any major updates like that in Michael, Kyron, or any other kid's case that I do. And yeah, I love you guys. Thank you guys for being amazing. I cannot wait to be back live. Have an amazing, amazing day. Oh, but before we go, we're going to dance on our chairs because Kimberly gave a super sticker. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, hon. I really do. You're so kind. Yeah, we are ready for it. I'm sure you guys are. It's going to be an amazing. Thank you, everybody, for coming in and supporting Michael and his family. Your support means more than you know, and it's so true. The Vaughn family is just so thankful to see people here, see people fighting for justice. It's so important. Grab a flyer. Post Michael, his beautiful face, his beautiful smile all over social media. Love you guys. It was good to see you. You know what? I'll just tell you now. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good night, everybody.